What if I told you a tiny island nation stunned the football world by taking on giants like Spain and Argentina?
I'm Leah, feeling excited today.
And I'm Garrett, ready to dive into this fascinating topic. Welcome to Laid Back Learning with Leah and Garrett.
Today we're talking about the Cape Verde men's national football team, their journey, their identity as the Blue Sharks, and how they surprised the world on the biggest stages. So, quick story. A friend of mine from a Cape Verdean family invited me to a watch party during their first World Cup. Their living room had flags draped over the couch. Grandpa was explaining who Ryan Mendez is. By the way, he's their captain and all-time top scorer, and everyone went quiet when the Spain game kicked off. When it ended 0-0, it wasn't quiet anymore. It felt like the room just lifted. I remember thinking, this is one of those underdog moments you don't forget. That's when I started following their story for real.
Let's set the scene. Cape Verde is an island nation off West Africa. Their men's national team is run by the Cape Verdean Football Federation, which handles everything from picking the coach to managing call-ups and scheduling games. When we say FIFA, we mean the global body that runs the World Cup. And CAF is the African Confederation that organizes the Africa Cup of Nations, or AFCON for short. Those are the big umbrellas. The team is nicknamed the Blue Sharks. It fits, right? Island culture, the ocean, and a team identity built around speed, fearlessness, and that collective hunting vibe.
Home field energy matters too. They play at the Estadio Nacional de Cabo Verde, which is their main modern stadium, but there's also Estadio de Várzea in Praia, a historic ground, and Aderito Senna in Mindelo. Rotating games keeps the whole archipelago involved. And here's a key idea: diaspora. That's people from a nation living outside their homeland. More Cape Verdeans live abroad than on the islands, especially in Portugal, the Netherlands, and France. The Federation scouts those players as long as they're eligible under FIFA rules, and that's how a small country expands its talent pool. It's like tapping into a global training network.
All right, let's roll on into the timeline. Cape Verde gained independence in 1975. That opened the door to national institutions, including football. In 1982, the federation formed and affiliated with CAF, which meant they could enter African competitions. Their first recorded international match came in 1978 against Guinea, a 0-1 loss. The exact date's a little fuzzy in archives. Some sources say April 1978. Others say May 1978. Either way, 1978 is the year they stepped onto the international stage.
And joining FIFA, the world body, is listed as 1986 in one place and 1982 in another. Records from that period can be messy, but by the mid-1980s they were definitely in the system. They tried AFCON qualifying in 1992 and didn't make it. In 1996 they even had to withdraw, and in 1998 they didn't enter. That's reality for developing programs. Travel, budgets, and logistics are heavy lifts. It improved over time.
By 2000 and 2002, they were competing more steadily. Tight games, low scoring, but learning. In 2002 World Cup qualifying, they met Algeria and went out early, but that's the first taste of the big road. That same year, they faced a European opponent for the first time, a 0-0 with Luxembourg. These small steps matter. You can, feel the platform taking shape.
The 2006 joint qualifiers for World Cup and AFCON were a breakthrough in spirit. First World Cup qualifier win against Swaziland and a first away win in Burkina Faso. They didn't qualify, but it was a statement. Then in 2008 to 2010, under coach João de Deus, a Portuguese manager who brought in more diaspora players from European leagues, the team got sharper. In 2009, they beat Malta 2-0. And in 2010, the famous 0-0 away to Portugal, who were ranked third in the world at the time. Cape Verde were 117th. That's a draw. That echoes.
Let's keep it moving. AFCON 2012 qualifying was close, but no cigar. Then came the leap, AFCON 2013. To qualify, they beat Cameroon, a traditional African power, 3-2 on aggregate. That's massive. In the finals, they drew with host South Africa, then drew with Morocco. Platini, which is Luis Carlos Almada Suarez, scored their first AFCON goal, and they beat Angola to reach the quarterfinals. Even in the loss to Ghana, they outshot them 16-8. You could see the identity solidifying. Compact shape, quick counters, and set pieces as a weapon.
AFCON 2015 qualifying was strong under Rui Águas, a Portuguese coach who kept that momentum. They secured qualification early and topped their group. In the finals, 3 draws: Tunisia 1-1 with a held-on penalty, then 0 with DR Congo, then 0-0 with Zambia in a tropical storm. Eliminated on goal difference while undefeated. That's such a heartbreaker. But then right after, March 2015, they beat Portugal 2-0 in Estoril. It's one thing to draw a giant, it's another to beat them, away. Confidence skyrocketed.
There were bumps. AFCON 2017 and 2019, they didn't qualify. But they came back at AFCON 2021, making the round of 16. Then AFCON 2023 was epic. Group winners beat Ghana 2-1 with a stoppage-time goal by Gary Rodrigues, who's a winger known for explosive pace. Beat Mozambique 3-0. Drew 2-2 with Egypt, with Brian Teixeira equalizing deep into stoppage time. In the knockouts, Ryan Mendes converted a late penalty against Mauritania. Then the quarterfinal with South Africa went to penalties after a 0-0. They missed 4 of 5 and lost 1-2 in the shootout. Still, undefeated in open play. That run finished 5th overall and, really announced them.
Coaching stability helped. Pedro Leitão Brito, known as Bubista, took over in 2020. He's the architect of this current identity. Compact defending, quick transitions, rehearsed set pieces. That organization took them to the big one. In October 2025, they clinched a first-ever World Cup spot by winning their qualifying group. And in 2026, they made their debut. Group stage draws against Spain and Uruguay, then a 0-0 with Saudi Arabia. 3 points, 0 losses, and they advanced.
That Spain game in particular was huge. Spain were reigning European champions, and Cape Verde kept it 0-0. That kind of defensive discipline on the world stage is huge. The result blew up online. Some of their players gained over 10 million followers overnight. That's a wild metric of cultural impact. Then came the round of 32 against Argentina, the defending world champions. Cape Verde pushed it to extra time and lost 3-2. It's one of those instant classics that sticks in memory.
Let's get to the heart of the people making it happen. Ryan Mendes holds their records for most caps and most goals. He's the heartbeat. Vozinha, the goalkeeper, has been a stalwart, nearly a century of caps. Gary Rodrigues brings goals at big moments. Jamiro Monteiro, a midfielder, adds control and tempo. Stopira at the back has been a reliable presence. That balance across lines is why their structure holds up in tense games.
Quick note on identity and presentation. The kit suppliers have changed a lot over the years. Adidas in some cycles, Hummel, Lacatoni, Tempo Sport, and now Capelli Sport during and after 2026. Each switch lines up with branding pushes around tournaments. The Blue Sharks motif shows up in patterns and social media, and that consistency helps build a brand fans can rally around. It's not just fashion, it's culture stitched into fabric.
Can I ask a simple why here? Why does the diaspora piece work so well for Cape Verde? I mean, beyond just numbers.
Yeah, totally. 2 reasons. First, development environment. Players born or raised in Portugal, the Netherlands, or France go through academies with strong coaching, sports science, and week-to-week competition. When they choose Cape Verde, they bring that toolkit back. Second, identity. The Blue Sharks ethos unites guys arriving from different clubs and countries. If you have a clear plan and everyone buys into roles, talent from varied backgrounds meshes, not clashes. That's organization beating budget.
Okay, let's move on to a sticky point, historical accuracy. The first international match date, some sources say April 1978, others say May 1978. Same opponent, Guinea, same 0-1 score. It seems small, but records matter. They shape anniversaries, museum exhibits, even how you teach kids the story. I lean toward, let's not gloss over it. Let's track it down. What do you think?
I get that, for sure. I'm kind of on the other angle. If the heart of the story holds, and we know 1978, opponent Guinea, and the score, then the symbol still stands. The exact day matters to historians, which is important, but the impact for fans and players is the broader arc. The lesson is, from modest beginnings to world stages. Still, I'm not saying ignore it. It's more like, don't let that dispute overshadow the progress.
That's fair. Maybe it's both. We honor the arc while respecting the details. Why do you think those discrepancies happen? Is it just poor record keeping back then?
Partly. Regional tournaments, limited media coverage, paper archives that don't sync across borders, and later, databases pulling from different sources. Over time, you get parallel dates. The good thing is, modern Cape Verde has much stronger data practices. CAF, FIFA, and the Federation log everything digitally now, so the early haze gives way to clarity as you move forward.
Another discrepancy you see is their FIFA entry year, 1982 versus 1986. That one can change how people frame the timeline of Cape Verde in world football. For me, the implication is about recognition. Being officially in the club changes access to development grants, coaching courses, and match windows. But like you said, the mid-'80s is the key window. By the time we hit the 2000s, the competitive record speaks loudest.
Speaking of loud stories, in pop culture terms, their 2026 World Cup debut and that extra-time thriller with Argentina have been tagged as one of the great underdog chapters in World Cup lore. I can already picture the doc, opening on a quiet training session at Estadio Nacional, cut to Praia streets on match day, then a split screen of Lisbon and Rotterdam watch parties, roll the Spain draw, then the Argentina heartbreak. End with kids in Mindelo juggling a ball at sunset. That's cinema.
Counterfactual moment. What if Cape Verde had converted their penalties in that AFCON 2023 quarterfinal against South Africa? I think a semifinal would have changed seeding for future tournaments, maybe improved their draw odds at AFCON, or even friendly opportunities in Europe. It would also put more spotlight on Bubista's system. Those extra 2 or 3 high-stakes games become a rehearsal space before the World Cup.
Yeah, and sponsors pay attention to knockout rounds. A semifinal run could trigger better kit deals or training support sooner. Imagine the Federation negotiating with the leverage of a deep AFCON run, plus a World Cup on the horizon. Clubs might also reevaluate Cape Verdean internationals. More transfers, more minutes, better rhythm when they report for national duty. It's a feedback loop.
There's a human layer, too. If they had won that shootout, the confidence spike before World Cup 2026 might have been massive. Confidence isn't abstract. It shows up in first touches, in set-piece timing, and how you press in minute 88. Kids watching at home would lock into those images. That's legacy. Beyond medals. It's belief. And even without that win, they carried belief into 2026 and proved it against Spain and Uruguay.
Totally. And just to add a quirky angle, their record as the smallest country by land area and second least populated to reach a World Cup stood for about 5 weeks until Curaçao qualified for the same tournament. Even that twist says something. The game is opening up. If your federation is organized, if you scout the diaspora smartly, and if your coaching is coherent, you can punch above your weight. Cape Verde kind of wrote that playbook for the 2020s.
Stay curious, keep an eye out for the Blue Sharks, and for all the other teams turning small beginnings into big moments.
Yeah, that checks out. More stories like this are out there, and I'm down for that. Until next time.